Today I'm walking through Dresden's upscale, trendy, it's just always a great neighborhood, Feliz. People say it a couple different ways.
Los Feliz, Los Feliz. Which one is right? It might be neither of them, because they say the city takes home the prize for the most controversial pronunciation in Los Angeles.
And the place I'm walking to right now, I don't have any ghost stories about it, but I hope it's haunted. It's such an awesome location. The neighborhood, we've got a couple of other locations in the neighborhood we'll talk about, but definitely let me know if you have any other good ghost stories about Los Feliz. So, you can see right in front of us, the Dresden room, made really famous from swingers.
You know, you got these claws and you're staring at these claws, man. And you're thinking to yourself with these claws, you're thinking, man, how am I supposed to kill this bunny?
And you're poking at it, man. You're poking at it.
Yeah, you're not hurting it.
Right.
See, baby, it's not that hard.
818.
310.
Marty and Elaine, iconic Los Angeles lounge singing act. They were playing since well before then, and they played up until just recently. Unfortunately, Marty passed away, I think, less than a year ago. But this is the building, still here, and it's really unchanged since the golden era. Actually, the golden era, I should say. See, the door is open. Get a little look inside. But it is still an in-business location. Just a great location and a place where we went for Damien Kulash's birthday. Damien being the lead singer of the band OK Go. And no, that's not a ghost story, and it's not a filming event, but I want to share some of my LA, some of the connections I have to these places as well. The Dresden is a place that is the loudest Prius I've ever heard in my life. This is the place we used to go back when I was in college, going to school out here, and amazingly, I've never noticed this before. I'll see how well I can zoom in. There's an iconic house up on the hill there, constructed by Frank Lloyd Wright. We're gonna get some better looks at this on Google Maps. But Frank Lloyd Wright house up top of the hill goes back to some classic black and white horror movies. But also recently, a lot of the last season of Westworld. Whenever you saw them at that really elegant party where Rachel Evan Wood, anytime you saw her kind of dressed up for a high-end party, that was all shot up at that Frank Lloyd Wright house. We will see a couple other houses really soon as well, all in this neighborhood, all associated with murder, unfortunately. So some dark stories up ahead, some ghost stories as well, but really just kind of macabre, dark LA history. And to be honest with you, one of the locations is a place that has been very high at the top of my bucket list ever since I got out to LA and discovered it, and learned about it. I should say I didn't discover it, but I've heard there's been some changes. New owners. This place was a locked in time location. I'll get more into the story later. It was locked in time from the event of a murder that happened in 1958. Nobody's been there since. So it's basically just a preserved crime scene. Nobody could even know if it was haunted. But with new ownership, for one, I can't believe every ghost hunting show hasn't been there, but it was just inaccessible. But if there is new ownership, we're gonna take a look at that now. I might not talk there, because we're just gonna snoop a little bit. We're not gonna trespass, of course. Here is the Dresden room right here, and I was just walking down the street, going down the side street. And yeah, I'd never noticed that from in front of the Dresden. You can just look up the street here, and up here is where the Ennis house is. We'll get a slightly better look at that in a little bit, but still, that was surprising for me to see. And again, if anybody has any ghost stories associated with the Dresden, definitely let me know. I've never heard any, but it is a old-time Hollywood location, and a place that you don't have to have a dark, scary, macabre history. That is the perfect example of a place that people would want to come back and hang out after death, because it's a place they loved in life. So I really do hope I hear some stories about the Dresden. And looking at their page right here, you see that it has been there since 1954. So it doesn't go back to the early days of Hollywood, but still, the number of people that have absolutely gone through that location, it's got to be a limitless list. Next stop on our list, we'll just head north up the street, go over to Franklin, and we will find a very unique place with a strange history. Ooh, good news. This house that I want to show you has always been super hidden. They cleared out the front, and you can see it very well now. That is really cool. and that of course is the Sowden house. And you can actually see all the way through the glass there to the other peak in the background, that other kind of Mayan architecturally inspired peak. So this house has a lot of legend behind it. Let's be honest, first and foremost, there is darkness. There are ghost stories associated with this house. It was a Lloyd Wright, not Frank Lloyd Wright, but his son Lloyd Wright designed house, and there are a number of houses around LA designed by Frank Lloyd Wright and Lloyd Wright. This one is associated very strongly right now, and I would say incorrectly, with the Black Dahlia case. You see, the reason for that is a guy named Steve Odell was a detective, and he was looking into the Black Dahlia case and discovered that his dad was a prime suspect for a long time. They did a lot of information gathering on him. He was a very shady guy, and he was a bad person. Let's not mix things up about that at all. He was a guy that apparently, allegedly, assaulted his daughter. Really bad things, but probably not the Black Dahlia killer. TV shows have shot here, both narrative and also ghost hunting shows have shot here. And also, America's Next Top Model shot here, which I would love to get some stories about whether or not they had any experiences on set. And while, understandably, there's a lot of attention paid to that house right there, I'm gonna give you some information on a new location. I shot a few movies, at least one, maybe two movies, at this house right here, under previous ownership at the time when I was working here. We shot some lower budget, but kind of trippy, weird drama movies. And first off, it was neat to be able to be on the second floor and look over the hedges and see the Sowden house from a different angle.
Huge flag on the play on my part. The house I was talking about next door was completely hidden by these hedges, which have grown so huge. When I was shooting a movie here at this house, not this house, these people don't live in a haunted house, these people might. These hedges were way smaller. You could see the house from the street. You could see the street from inside the house as we were shooting. But that did give me that unique location to look from the bedroom window over to the Sowden house here.
Now, we didn't have any experiences while filming here, but apparently the previous owners did. So much so, and it was such a terrifying ordeal that when we were up in the master bedroom on the second floor of this house, you could see that it was just deadbolts all the way down the entire length of the door. So this person lived here in such fear that they really, really would lock themselves into their room at night. Of course, not like a deadbolt is going to stop a ghost, but whatever element of safety that this person could find, they did. They found it, and that was by having lots and lots and lots of locks on the door. So I'd be curious to find out if there's more hauntings going on at this house here, but really neat to see that right next door to the Sowden house right over here is another haunted house.
Going back, looking at the Sowden house, you see that really unique architecture, that wild design, courtyard with pool in the center. People have talked about some very uncomfortable feelings in the house. And again, a number of different ghost hunting shows have filmed here. And it was in this house and the front yard and throughout the house where we shot a couple, like I said, lower budget independent films that were kind of Twin Peaksy, Darling Nikki and Blue Dream. I know Darling Nikki was shot here. I think we shot here for Blue Dream also. Two films shot by Greg Hatanaka, the director. Anyway, very interesting location, and it's crazy that you cannot see any sign of it from the outside anymore. Lastly, from here, we will zoom out and go to the house that I was referring to at the beginning of this video, a place that was a crime scene that is locked in time, and that is the Los Feliz murder house. No sooner did I record myself saying that I'm surprised no ghost hunting shows have been able to find their way in there, I find out that Ghost Adventures just shot there. As I'm recording this, the episode hasn't aired, but it's about to very soon, so I cannot wait. I'll be honest, I'm a little jealous. I wish I was the first one inside this place. But regardless, I'm very excited that somebody got to go inside and that we will be able to watch it and check it out. I hope they do a good job. This is a place we don't know if it's haunted, but it is a location that has such a scary past. So to go into the actual story of why this is called the murder house, a story I did not tell on site, it is about this family that went through something horrific. The patriarch of the home, Dr. Harold Perelson, hopefully I'm saying that right, he attacked and killed his wife with a hammer. What a horrific thing to do, a horrific way to go. Her screams woke up his oldest daughter, Judy, who came to check on him, and he attacked her as well. The younger daughter then came in and asked to see what was going on, and that's when the father said that just having a bad dream, go back to bed, which she did. And he fortunately did not attack his son or the youngest daughter. Judy was able to run down the street. She survived. She got help. And while she was away, the doctor took poison and killed himself. So that is the story of this location. And the kids, obviously, they lost their mom and dad. They left the house. The house was just kind of frozen in time up until now. It's amazing that it's been about 60 years and this house has been locked in time. Nobody's ever really tried to move in before. There have been different owners that didn't actually move into the location. They bought it perhaps to prospect and resell it later, but they held on to it for a long time, allegedly only ever using the garage for storage. But here's a neat angle of the house, an angle we don't see because you're not really allowed to be on the property at all as it stands right now, and there have been motion detector cameras up for the longest time. Need to see they had a family dog, apparently, hanging out right there. But yeah, there's an angle of the house we don't ever really see. And there's Judy there, who is the daughter who was attacked but survived. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's just demolishing the garage. So is this place haunted? You would assume that it would have to be, right? There's just so much reason for it to be, but also we have no idea. Nobody's been able to do an actual investigation until just now. But here's something that you don't see from the street, which is why I like to do this on Google Earth, is that you zoom out a little bit and maybe look up, and there, looming right over it, is the Ennis house. Again, this is a place that was made famous. Well, it's famous just in general because it is a Frank Lloyd Wright home. But yeah, featured in so many different movies, very famously Blade Runner, Westworld, and most famously, maybe the one that really initially put it on the map is This Is the House on Haunted Hill, that castle movie with Vincent Price.
I'm Frederick Lauren, and I've rented the house on Haunted Hill tonight so that my wife can give a party. A haunted house party. She's so amusing.
Just right on top of the Los Feliz murder house. And of course, if we look on back down there, somewhere down there is the Dresden. So I should also note that this is the same town where the Tate-LaBianca murders took place. The second mass murder conducted by the Manson family. I'm not going to show that right here because I covered it on my website actually a while ago. I will put a link to this article, but yes, at one point in time, getting back to Ghost Adventures yet again, Zach Baggins did purchase it, but then he decided to resell it before he ever utilized it at all. So we do take a look at that location, look at it from the point of view of Zillow as well, if anybody's interested in real estate, but then also we check in, there's how it looks from the street, but we look at where the Tate murders took place. The place where, of course, Sharon Tate passed away with her unborn child, along with Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, and Stephen Parent, the most notorious single mass murder, I think, in LA history. Anyway, so one last look at this really beautiful and hip, trendy, fun neighborhood with, wow, what a lot of tragedy and crime history here. We have the Dresden down here. Don't have any ghost stories or crime history with that one, but yeah, straight up the hill, we see the Los Feliz murder house, and of course, right behind it, the Ennis house, and then down here, the Sowden house. And of course, over here, further east, is where the Manson family killed Leno and his wife, Rosemary LaBianca. If you know of any other haunted locations in Los Feliz, I just want to know, what's your ghost story?